Garden of Heaven, or does it just enhance the childhood memories read in books and remind you of the strange world of childhood? So stay in this story till the end, feeling the stories read in childhood in reality and probing the memories of childhood. The story is very good, friends. Therefore, you are requested to watch this story till the end and get lost in the memories of your childhood. Once upon a time there was a prince. He was very fond of reading. He had many kinds of books. Nice and beautiful books in which various things worth knowing were written. He used to read these books with great interest and increase his knowledge about the country and the world. He wanted to know for a long time where the Garden of Heaven is and how to reach there. But nothing was written about it in his book. When he was very young and was first sent to school to study, his grandmother told him the story of the Garden of Heaven. Grandmother had told that there are various kinds of flowers in the Garden of Heaven, each one more beautiful and fragrant than the other. They are so sweet to eat that you don't even ask. Their petals seem to have been dipped in sherbet. One of those flowers has history written on it and the other has geography. One is a flower of mathematics and the other of grammar. Whoever eats these flowers remembers his lesson immediately. The more flowers you eat, the more your intelligence increases. Such strange flowers bloom in the Garden of Heaven. The prince was very young then and he believed this story. But as he grew up and his intelligence increased, he started thinking that this story has some other meaning. Such stories always have some deep meaning. Like the story of Adam and Eve, it is said in it that Adam ate the fruit which should not have been eaten, because it was the fruit of sin. If I had been there at that time, I would not have allowed Adam to eat the fruit of sin, and then sin would not have been created in the world. The prince often thought like this. That is why he felt that the story of the Garden of Heaven also has some meaning. There really is a Garden of Heaven and flowers bloom there like the ones grandmother used to tell. Flowers of history and geography, flowers of mathematics and grammar, eat them and become a scholar. That is why even after growing up he often used to think about the Garden of Heaven. One day the prince went for a walk in the forest. He often used to go for such a walk. He kept walking for some time. Then it became evening and clouds started gathering. After some time it started raining. The intensity of the rain increased in no time. The rain fell so heavily as if the sky had burst. The darkness became so dense that one could not see one's hand. The prince got stuck in trouble. In the darkness sometimes his feet would slip and sometimes he would stumble. There was no place to hide his head. There was water all around. It was difficult to escape from the water even under the trees. The rain was pouring so heavily that the prince got drenched badly. He became so tired that he could not even walk. Somehow the prince was moving forward, falling down. Suddenly he heard some sound. On going a little further, he saw that a cave was lit up, and on going further he saw that a fire was burning in the middle of the cave. A deer was being roasted on the fire. A woman was sitting near the fire. She looked quite tall and strong. She was slowly putting wood in the fire. On seeing the prince, she said, "Come inside. Sit near the fire for a while and dry your clothes. It is raining a lot outside and there is a storm too." The prince said while sitting on the ground near the fire. The woman said, "What will happen now? Will my sons return home?" Quote, "Then the weather will become even worse. This is the cave of storms. I have 4 sons. All 4 live in 4 directions. Do you understand?" The prince asked, "Where have your sons gone? Is this even a question? My sons have to do a lot of work. Right now they are playing ball with the clouds in the field of King Indra." Saying this, the woman pointed towards the sky. "Well, but your speech is very harsh. I did not get any chance to sit among such women. Yes, it is necessary for me to be a little harsh because I have to control my stormy boys. You see these 4 sacks hanging on the wall. They are very afraid of these sacks. When they return home, I lock them in these sacks. And then they cannot come out of them unless I want them to." Look, a storm returned. It was a northern storm, full of hail and snow. It was very cold. He was wearing sealskin clothes and a big hat too. When he shook his clothes, big hailstones would fall from it. Seeing him going near the fire, the prince said, Do not go too close to the fire. You have come from outside. If you feel hot, you will catch a cold. The northern storm laughed out loud. He said, Cold and me, but who are you? Mother, who is this skinny little boy? Why, dear, how did you come to the cave of storms? The woman said, He is my guest. Do not disturb him or else I will lock you in a sack. Sit properly. Tell me, what did you see today, and where did you go? Quote, the northern storm had returned home after about a month. He started telling his stories. Mother, I am coming from the North Pole. I went to the island of bears on a Russian sailor's ship. I often used to sleep on their ship. Whenever I opened my eyes, I found storm birds flying around me. Those birds that fly in snowstorms are very strange, and that island of bears was also very strange. There was snow everywhere. Somewhere there are mountains of snow, somewhere there are rivers of melted ice. At various places there were carcasses of bellfish and big bears found in the north. The sun never rises there. Only a little light spreads. I slowly swept away and cleared the clouds. At one place I saw a small hut which was made of fish skin. There were nests of seabirds everywhere in which their tiny babies were chirping with hunger. Lion-shaped fish named walrus were rolling here and their long teeth were shining. The sailors started their work. They prepared to catch fish with long spears tied to ropes. A big hook pierced the chest of the seahorse and blood spread on the ice. I felt very bad about this and I started hitting the big icebergs floating in the sea with their ship, and Allah started screaming. But I screamed even louder and started crying. They were forced to stop their work. They had to throw all their stuff there and run towards the sea. Now they will never go to the island of bears. Storm's mother said, Well, let the story of your mischief be. Look, the western storm has also come. He was coming from the dense forests of America and he had a big heavy donkey in his hands. After talking for a while, he also started telling his stories. Mother, meanwhile I kept floating through dense forests and swamps. There were hardly any humans there. I saw deep rivers. I saw tall waterfalls. A big buffalo was swimming in the river at one place, but in no time it was swept away in the middle of the stream. I was so happy to see this that I uprooted many trees. After this I kept floating among coconut trees. I teased wild horses in the long plains. By then the southern storm also returned. It was wearing a turban. As soon as it came, it started fighting with the northern storm. I start feeling cold when it comes. Seeing them fighting, their mother intervened and threatened to lock both of them in a sack. Only then did they calm down. Then the southern storm started telling its stories. Mother, I am coming from Africa. There I saw a lion hunting. The grass there is very good. Their ostriches often used to compete with me in running. But can they stand in competition with me? I kept floating in the deserts. Once I saw a caravan that had lost its way in the desert. People were suffering without water. They had killed all their camels one by one so that they could get a few handfuls of water from their stomachs. I also thought of playing a prank. I created a sandstorm. At that time the faces of those people were worth seeing. I enjoyed it a lot. I showered so much sand on them that they all got buried in it and a pyramid of sand stood above them. Now if I blow away all the sand there, then their faces will be visible. You have done a very bad thing. You keep doing such bad things. Come here, the mother of the storms said angrily. She put the southern storm in a sack. When it started rolling here and there, she climbed on it and sat down. The prince said, These boys of yours are very naughty. Yes, but I know how to set them right. Look, that fourth boy also came. Meanwhile the eastern storm arrived. He was wearing clothes like the Chinese. Seeing him, mother said, Oh, so you went to China. I thought you went to the Garden of Heaven. Yes, mother, I will go there tomorrow. I have not been able to go there for about 100 years. I am just coming from China. There I rang the bells of tall wooden and bamboo towers. Their people were getting beaten up on the streets in the name of religion and for the purpose of earning merit. Their religious gurus were breaking bamboo sticks on their backs by beating them. I felt very happy to see this and I rang a huge bell loudly. Mother said, You have also become very naughty. Now tomorrow you must go to the Garden of Heaven. See, do not forget to drink water from the Buddy waterfall there to your fill. Bring some water from that waterfall for me too. Eastern Storm said, Okay, mother. But tell me, why have you kept Dakshin Bhaiya locked in a sack? I want to ask him about the bird named Phoenix. Because whenever I meet the princess after 100 years, she asks me about the bird. Mother, open the sack. I will give you 2 cups of tea. Absolutely fresh Chinese tea. Hearing the name of tea, the old woman became happy. She opened the sack. The southern storm came out of the sack with his head lowered in shame. He said, "Take this palm leaf." That bird had given it to me for the princess. On this, she has written the history of the entire 100 years. It is written in it how she herself set fire to her nest and burned to death in it like a Hindu sati. But her egg did not burn. The egg broke and a baby phoenix came out of it and flew away. This is the only specimen of that species of bird left in the world. It has made a hole in this leaf and in this way has sent its message to the princess. Now the eastern storm sat near the prince. The mother of storms served food to everyone. The prince asked the eastern storm, "Which is that princess about whom you people are talking? And where is this garden of heaven?" The eastern storm laughed out loud. "Why, do you want to go there? That's good, come with me tomorrow. But let me tell you first that no human has gone there till date. You may have read about it in books which say that only Adam and Eve went there, and when they were expelled from there, that garden went to the underworld. But even now it is as beautiful as before. The Queen of Fairies lives there. Well, now I am feeling sleepy. It is quite late in the night. Now go to sleep. I will take you there tomorrow morning." Everyone went to sleep. In the morning when the prince opened his eyes, he saw that he was flying above the clouds. The eastern storm was flying with him on its back. From there, everything on earth looked very small. By evening, everything started sinking into darkness. The lights of the cities that were below were twinkling like stars. The eastern storm said to the prince, "Look, now we are flying above the Himalayas. This is the highest mountain in the world. Now in a short while we will reach the garden of heaven," and indeed after going a little further the fragrance of various flowers started coming in the air. Sometimes the fragrance of ripe apples, pears, grapes and figs was also felt. After this they passed through the cave. It was very cold here. Sometimes the cave became so narrow that they had to cross it by crawling on their knees. The prince said, "Before going to the garden of heaven, perhaps we are passing through the valley of death." The eastern storm pointed ahead, from where blue light was coming from the cave. As they moved forward, the rocks started turning into mist. The air was very fresh and filled with the fragrance of fresh roses. Now they were out of the cave. They found a river in which very clear water was flowing. Various types of golden and white fishes were swimming in it. A very beautiful marble bridge was built on the river. Across this bridge lay the island of good fortune. That was the garden of heaven. The eastern storm took the prince across the bridge. There the flowers and trees of the garden were singing beautiful songs like those sweet lullabies which the prince had heard in his childhood. The trees and plants there were strange. They looked so blurry as if they were hidden under fog or water that it was difficult to identify them properly. It was a strange garden. It was difficult to differentiate between the flowers, leaves, trees, plants and even the birds here. Flocks of peacocks were dancing on the grass carpets with their multicolored tails spread out. When the prince touched them, he was very surprised that these were not peacocks but plants. Big lions and leopards, which were probably domesticated, were playing here and there like cats. Deer were also roaming fearlessly among them, and then finally he found the fairy princess. Her clothes were shining like pleasant sunlight and her face was glowing with happiness. Her beautiful friends were walking behind her. Each of them had a star shining in their hair. The eastern storm bowed to the princess and then gave her the palm leaf given by the phoenix. The princess' eyes sparkled with happiness. After this the fairy took the prince to her palace, whose walls were like lotuses blooming in the sun and on whose roof there was an inverted flower. The prince peeped out of a window. There he saw the tree of knowledge of sin and virtue, whose fruit Adam and Eve had eaten. Adam and Eve were also standing there. The fairy told the prince that actually this is a picture. Time has made these pictures on the window panes. But these are living pictures in which the leaves of the trees move and animals are seen coming and going in the same way as they are seen in a mirror. The prince saw similar pictures made on the panes of other windows too, on which the stories of the books were written in a living form. Only time could make such pictures. The fairy said to the prince, "Come, let me take you for a ride in the boat. You will like this boat very much. This boat floats on the waves in such a way that it seems to be standing at its place, and all the countries of the world pass by it with their old history." It was really a strange scene. Sometimes the snowy peaks of the Alps pass by the boat. Sometimes the dense forests of Africa. Sometimes the herds of shepherds playing trumpet were seen, and sometimes the tall pyramids of Egypt. Somewhere the wild people were dancing, and somewhere the sages were singing bhajans. In a short while the fairy took the prince around the world. The prince asked, "Can I stay here forever?" "It depends on your mind. If you never do the things that you are forbidden from, then you can stay here forever." The prince said, "I will not eat the fruits of the tree of sin and virtue like Adam. There are many other trees too. Think about it. If you do not trust yourself, then go back with the eastern storm. It will come here again only after 100 years, but for us it is only a time of 100 hours. Every evening when I leave you I will say, 'Come with me.' I will make gestures to call you. Remember, you should not come. Because as soon as you come to me, this garden will go to hell. Desert storms will start blowing around you. You will get drenched in icy water, and sorrow and worry will be written in your fate forever. I will stay here and try to avoid all kinds of temptations." The prince said with peace of mind. The eastern storm kissed his head and said goodbye to him. "Okay, I will leave. Now I will meet you after 100 years. You stay here comfortably." Saying this, it spread its big bright wings. Flowers and leaves also took leave. They bid him farewell by saying goodbye. Many kinds of birds flew with him till the last limit of the Garden of Heaven. The fairy said to the prince, "Okay, let's go. Now let us begin our dance. Every day when the evening starts, I will ask you to come with me. But you don't come. Every evening for 100 years, I will call you in the same way. You try to control yourself every day. Gradually, your patience will increase so much that you will never be ready to come with me again. So this evening is the first evening." Then the fairy started dancing with him. Both of them kept dancing for a long time. Along with them, all the flowers and plants there also kept dancing. When the evening started, one wall of the room disappeared, and the prince started seeing that unique tree of knowledge of sin and virtue. He heard as if someone was calling in his mother's voice, and the prince, forgetting his promise, immediately ran towards it. Although this was his first evening, the fragrance of the fruits became even more dense. The music of the dance became even more melodious. The fairy was calling him from the room where the tree of knowledge of sin and virtue stood. "Come, come." And the next moment he was standing behind the branches of that tree. The fairy hid. The prince went ahead and removed the branches of the tree. The princess was sleeping there. The fairy princess looked so beautiful at this time, as if she was the goddess of beauty. The prince went ahead and touched her. But as soon as he touched her, there was a very strong lightning, and the Garden of Heaven trembled. The fairy disappeared, and the Garden of Heaven started sinking into the underworld. Slowly the garden went away from the prince. Now it was shining like a star in the sky. There was complete darkness all around the prince. He got scared and fainted. After some time, very cold water started raining there. Strong wind started blowing. After a long time the prince regained consciousness. He started mumbling, "Alas, what have I done? I also sinned like Adam," and the Garden of Heaven sank into the underworld. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the morning star was shining in the sky far away, just like the Garden of Heaven had shone while going away from him. The prince looked around and found himself in the Cave of Storms. The old woman of storms, his mother, was sitting next to him. She said, "If you do good deeds and become a good boy, then after death you will get a place in the same star where there is a Garden of Heaven. Now you have seen the Garden of Heaven." After this the prince returned home and started trying to become a good boy.